You and I got a lot in common.
Really? You're sitting there tied to a chair, and I'm standing here with a gun in my hand.
War isn't over till both sides say it is.
Hello and welcome to What the Flick. It's such a joy to be back. I am back because we're talking about Killer Elite. I would not miss this. It's very, very important. I'm Christy Lemire, and that, if we go to the other camera, is Ben.
Hello.
And this is Matt Atchity. He wanted to wear a louder shirt. He actually tried.
I couldn't find one.
He couldn't find one. This is the best you get. We're talking about Killer Elite. You have Robert De Niro and Clive Owen and Jason Statham. So what could possibly go wrong? Ben has not seen this movie, so we're going to play our little game where he's going to pretend that he knows what it's about.
Yeah. So I've turned my iPad away so that I'm not influenced at all because I really know nothing about it except who's in it. Right. So I've decided that because it's called Killer Elite. Mm-hmm. that Jason Statham has been trained by the government to kill for good. Okay, bear with me. So he's some sort of agent, right? Maybe retired, maybe the organization doesn't exist anymore, and he was trained by Robert De Niro, who's like his mentor. Like that part, I sense, is real. Clive Owen was trained by the same people, but he was blinded in a paintball accident.
Something happens to his eye. That is true.
Right. So he's gone rogue, and he has been hired by terrorists to do something horrible that will mark essentially the end of the world. Either by terrorists or perhaps aliens have hired Clive Owen. So Jason Statham works with his mentor to wrangle the evil Clive Owen.
I would say you are a third of the way there. Let's take a look.
Hello?
I knew I'd find it.
How'd you get this number?
You have no idea who you're messing with. He's like a father to you, right? You don't do this, it's a dead man.
Listen, Danny's gonna come back for me. And when he does, you're out of here. He's your worst nightmare.
Should have stayed away.
The gloves are off. This ends today.
Matt is going to actually explain what it's about. Please enlighten us.
Okay.
Did I get anything?
You got some of it right.
You got the mentor
part
part
right. You got some of it right.
And Clive
De Niro-
Owen's bad.
Well, you knew that from the mustache and the eye.
Okay.
But he's not as bad as I think it would.
All right.
Really, he's actually seems to have some sort of a conscience.
And they're trained assassins in some.
Well, okay. So the story is that Jason Statham,
got too low already.
after saying that it's his last job, comes back to save his mentor, who took on a job he shouldn't have taken, and turns out it's some big frame-up, and then they end up on the run from another group of assassins that are like former SAS, which is the special forces from the British.
Oh, right.
Armed
Okay.
Services,
Right. Okay.
Right. James Bond trained with the SAS. That's why he's so awesome. Clive Owen is one of the guys after Jason Statham.
Okay.
But they weren't trained by the same agency. Whatever.
I got you. They were. They just didn't reveal that part.
But it's like a cat and mouse thing where, okay, so Jason Statham has to go on the run to find these killers, but Clive Owen's after him to try and stop him from killing the killers, and this sets up the obligatory showdown between Jason Statham and Clive Owen, which is shot in the shaky cam that you're so fond of. It is impossible to tell who's doing what to whom because it's all shaky cam, it's all like quick edits. You have these two badass guys, and a lot of it's obscured by like that steely cold gray blanket of sameness.
Well, then let me ask this because I have two questions about Jason Statham in general, both as critics and then as just movie lovers to answer. Because I made a huge mistake, and I was in a hotel room and I watched The Tonight Show. I apologize. But Jason Statham was on, and in between being interrupted very awkwardly constantly by Jay Leno, he's an incredibly engaging guy, and he talked about that scene that
the fight with Clive Owen.
That what the director wanted was not sort of glamorous staged fights, but a grittiness to the fighting. But it doesn't sound like they lost that. It was
what you get very little of. If you've watched Statham in other movies, he's one of those guys who knows how to look good on camera when he's fighting. Right? He strikes these kind of martial arts poses, and his fighting style. It's very acrobatic and very cinematic, and there's very little of that in the fight scene between. You get this scene between him and Clive Owen, and you're thinking, oh, this is going to be kind of awesome, and they really make it ugly and you can't really tell. There's one or
Well,
two
if
scenes.
you can't tell who's who.
Who's doing what to
Well, you
whom?
can tell.
Who's doing what to whom?
You can tell because one of them's bald and one of them has a mustache.
Right, but I mean,
No.
like the grittiness of a great fight. Like I keep referring to Deadwood, which I've been rewatching, and there's a couple of fight scenes in that are
Right.
like so big, overweight guys
Right.
fighting, and it's dramatic and it's good, but it's very real.
No,
That
but it's
doesn't
not
happen
like
here.
we've seen Clive. It's not like we've seen Jason Statham in things like The Transporter or the Crank movies, where he almost comes off like Jackie Chan sometimes, right? This is not shot that way. It's very, it's two guys almost wrestling practically.
But I think also when we talk about great brutal fights, in the third Bourne movie, there's that fight that he gets into with, I can't remember who the bad guy is, but they're using like washcloths and toothbrushes. And it's just, it's
that the
what you
second one or
have,
the third
it's
one?
the third one, I think. The one whatever you have to do to survive, they will do it.
Right.
But it's not chopped up. It's like they let the scenes play out. They let the fights play out so you can feel it building towards something.
It's a great fight scene, and again, it's funny a little, although it's a real fight scene. But out of sight, that struck me as that Don Cheadle George Clooney fight at the end when their guns stop working and they throw the guns at each other. They throw a lane on. They throw a big a plant at each other. They're
That movie is
jumping and they're
exactly
crawling.
like this one.
Totally. But then let me add. So you guys, because you've seen it, then. In hearing some promotion for this movie without knowing, obviously, clueless about what it was about, like there was a suggestion that, now finally maybe Jason Statham will be a big action star, which he of course already
Internationally
is.
he
but
is,
there's
yeah.
something that has kept him on like this slight secondary level, which I don't quite understand because I think he's like I'm totally into man crush on Jason Statham is through the roof for me.
There's a thing that actually one of my editors at Rotten Tomatoes and I keep talking about with Jason Statham is that a guy like Jason Statham, it almost seems like he doesn't realize that he's got a rep to lose, because you'll see some of the movies that he does and you're thinking, what the hell are you doing in this movie? Right? He'll do some bad movies. And I think that might be part of it. And another guy who's kind of in that same zone is Gerard Butler. Right, Gerard Butler, in my mind, should be a much bigger star than he is.
I agree.
But then he makes shit like The Ugly Truth.
Right, and you're like, dude, come on, right? Like,
but it's like nobody is committed to Jason Statham being like if a vehicle existed to make him a giant breakthrough Jason Bourne, James Bond star, I feel like he'd do it.
Right, because the Crank movies and the Transporter movies are too silly and they're not.
They're just genre movies, right?
But by the same token, like he's having fun. We've interviewed him and he's talked about he's doing these things that he really likes doing.
There's no criticism of him. I just feel like this guy could be one of the top 3 or 4 or 5 stars in the world.
He could be like a British Bruce Willis.
But I would guess too that a lot of why maybe he has been held back from that kind of superstardom is because he has this kind of stoic cool about him, like an understated kind of stoic cool, and he's not a larger than life figure like Sylvester Stallone or like a Schwarzenegger.
Couldn't that work
or
to
whatever.
his advantage? Couldn't that work?
know.
Couldn't that be part of the marketing, part of the Steve McQueen selling of
a lot
whatever
of
that
women
film
like
is?
him. Like I know, sorority sisters of mine.
And guys,
like Jason Statham.
We all like him too.
Yeah,
We're like, no, we admire him. We're not threatened by him. I don't know what it is.
I'd be threatened by him.
I watched
He
The
could kick
Tonight
my
Show
ass.
because he
For
was on.
him.
I was like, ooh, Jason Statham's on.
Oh my God.
No, he's awesome. But
all right, so this movie, real quick.
It's what's my problem with it? It's jerky, it's choppy. I hate all that about it.
It made me think of, there's been 2 80s movies in the last couple of weeks, and one of them is Drive, which is definitely an 80s
badass.
movie.
On purpose,
This is an 80s movie, kind of not in a good way. It felt like one of, maybe one of Frankenheimer's or, what's his name, who directed, Richard Donner's, lesser films. It just kind of felt like one of those workaday 80s style movies that, it's okay.
very generic.
Did you guys
very
get
forgettable.
bored? It sounds like you got a little bored.
Yeah, it goes
It's too
on.
long.
It's far too long.
Yeah.
It's far too long. The rhythm's a little weird. I think if you were to cut about 20, 25 minutes out of it, you'd probably have a tighter, better movie.
As long as you don't cut any Jason Statham out.
Oh my God.
All right, numbers.
I can't remember what I gave it. 4.9 or something ish? 4.9.
4.9.
5.
All right, so it comes to a 5. So we're just
5.1, sorry.
5.1.
5.1. All right, we'll give it still either way. Either way.
It's so spontaneous
Overall,
around here.
very tepid recommendation for if you have a crush on Jason Statham. Go ahead.
Go see The Bank Job instead.
Oh, love The Bank Job.
Bye.